Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Chamber of the Wraith. My name is Brian, and today we're going to be tackling Gigan in the Monster Breakdown. Now he's a pretty funky little monster. He's got pretty good attack at 6 out of 8. His defense is average at 4 out of 8, with 7 out of 8 speed, making him one of the fastest monsters in the game. And he has a weapons rating of 3 out of 8. But, as we will see, he has one of the longest ranged weapons in the game. So, what makes Gigan interesting in particular is that he seems pretty well suited to just bully the opponent. He's a big meanie, for lack of a better term. And to demonstrate, we're going to go against our most unfortunate of next opponents, Megalon. Now, for clarification, Megalon is particularly vulnerable to blunt attacks. So, whatever blunt attack Gigan hits Megalon with, imagine it a step down, and that would be average. So, in terms of reactions, like things that launch opponents might not launch, I'll try and explain that as best as I can, and of course we are going to go to Seattle, because Seattle is where it's at for monster shenanigans. And hopefully I did this right, and remember to make it 1 round per. And unlike Anguirus, we'll actually cover his special move Megalon right off the bat. Monster it's a teleport, which allows him to warp right behind the opponent at range. Now this is particularly good because I have to start doing stuff. I could get behind a monster and just knock him down. It does cost a decent amount of energy to use the teleport, so you can't teleport freely, but a teleport's a teleport. It's not bad at all. By the way, I do apologize if the interlacing is a little bit funky. I'm still trying to figure stuff out. So yeah, that big-ass launch, it's not as far as a Godzilla, for instance, would actually launch. And I totally did not intend this. Now we can talk about the Rage Attack, which I believe is called the Cyclo Twist. I will put the correct name down at some point. Put me down! Put me down! You can just hover around the opponent and just send them flying. Now let's talk about punch attacks, because that's going to be super duper important as soon as Megalon stops. So we have this double punch string, which goes into this short-range buzzsaw attack. The trouble is that with Megalon, you'll get about 3 hits off on average. Forward punch is a fairly fast hammer swipe. Put me down, put me down, put me down. This is gonna get annoying real fast. Down punch is an uppercut, and up punch is a fairly slow, but nonetheless molly-whopping, block cancelable attack. And the thing is that the forward lunge is one of the faster block cancelable attacks in the game. And finally, we come to one of Gigan's most interesting assets, his Buzzsaw Lunge. Just by tapping the button, you get a pretty quick 5-hit sharp attack that launches the opponent. Or that can suck the opponent in. I'm actually going to give him this health burst. There we go. Ow, 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 ow! But if you hold it down, you'll spend energy to land more hits. Like so. Look at all the damage that we got out of a single attack by spending all of our meter. If you don't want to spend all of your meter, I think you have to spend at least 3 bars if you hold it down. But if you decide to spend all the bars, it hurts like hell. And especially on Rodan, who's particularly weak to sharp attacks, this can chew through health. And of course, his jump attack, as you saw, is a very quick, blunt air swipe. Gigan, it's worth noting, has one of the biggest ranged, has one of the farthest reaching throws in the game. So, he kind of has grappler tendencies, but, you know, with a teleport and a really nasty sharp attack. Next, let's take a look at kicks. His standard kick options are 2 sharp attacks that don't really go into anything, but kick, kick, punch is the leaping buzzsaw swipe. And if I'm not mistaken... Yes! So you can set up into it, and it does even more damage because you set up into it with the kicks. With the righteous kicks of fury. Put me down, you oversized stag beetle. I'll be sure to do wake-up attacks at some point, but right now we got kicks. And most of Gigan's attacks, as you can imagine, are sharp attacks, but we'll start with up kick. It's a double kick that allows Gigan to send the opponent and knock them down. Then we have one of the shortest range headbutts in the game. And we have this funny looking drop kick that has a lot of end lag. And a lot of Gigan's attacks do look kind of goofy. The short range headbutt and the funny looking drop kick. Granted, if the drop kick whiffs, you have to hit him with an attack that hits low. You can't actually grab him out of that. And then we have this Stomp Attack, which is a blunt. Normally it's just a brief blunt because it's a fairly short range attack, but it goes right into the sharp attack. I don't know why he did that, because that didn't knock down. To stagger the opponent. His jumping attack is a sharp attack that knocks down on impact. And his kick throw is the buzzsaw throw. Doesn't hurt too much, but, you know, hurts like hell regardless. Next, we have his wake-up attacks, which on his belly is quite fast. But on his back, while it's slower, it lasts longer. Now, before we get to fierce attacks, let's quickly cover Gigan's ranged attacks. Tap the range button for a short-range shotgun blast that knocks the opponent back. And if you launch the opponent back and hold it down, you get this alien beam blast, which has incredible range. It has more range than Godzilla 2000's beam attack.
KO. Gigan has won. You win.
Try and demonstrate here.
Fight!
See, it still keeps hitting even though it's from there. And it's considered alien energy. It's the type, but I call it laser. So it's a laser-type ranged weapon. Now let's take a look at fierce attacks, starting with the fierce throw, which is this big clobber that sends the opponent quite far back. But first, we have this fierce attack that actually has a fierce combo. It goes fierce, fierce into this big mollywop, which is up and fierce. Fierce, fierce into kick is the double kick, and then fierce, fierce punch. Let me do that. Is the uppercut. And finally, punch, punch, fierce is this whirlwind attack. And the kick is the rolling cutter, I believe it's called. And rolling cutter is low. And this whirlwind cut thing has a very similar animation. So I think this is intended to be a kind of a mix-up, but both of these attacks are slow enough that, you know, most people can react to them. And of course, since this attack puts you airborne, you can get knocked down by jab. So it's quite risky. And then Forward Fierce is a pretty strong combo string that can knock opponents down, and I believe it can teleport me down. Back Fierce is the double Hammer Fist, which launches Megalon like crazy, but launches monsters in a normal, like in a function most people would expect. So for Megalon specifically, be careful of this one, because look at all the range I have now. And his jumping fierce attack is the Buzzsaw Flight, which does considerable damage.
Gigan has won.
And is really good at traveling distance, but it does have quite a bit of startup. And that is Gigan in a nutshell, ladies and gentlemen. He's kind of funky, but very brutal, especially on monsters with weakness to sharp attacks, because, well, that's what a lot of Gigan attacks possess. So, don't forget to be awesome, my friends, and next time we will be taking a look at the eternal underdog, Megalon. Don't forget to be awesome, and I'll see you guys on the other side.